My fellow Americans, welcome to my live stream. Welcome to tonight's show. I want to thank you for joining me. I'm going to talk politics here. So, with that introduction, I got to put my old man glasses on. Make sure I pushed all the right buttons since I'm a one-man show. Let's see. Go over to the comments. If somebody could give me a comment, let me know if you can hear me okay. How's the audio? How's the video? And once I make sure that everybody can hear me, then I'll go over what we're going to talk about on today's live stream. Ahead of the president's speech, I guess they call it an important update about the war in Iran. So still waiting on some comments to come across before we proceed. Let's see, I'm checking the YouTube. All right, so I see on the YouTube screen some comments coming across. Let me go back to my software here. Back to your comments here. All right, yay. Hey Jude, how you doing? Wake up, Mr. Solo, Mr. G. Toriano TV reporting loud and clear. Jude also reporting that everything is good. Hey Rodney, how are you? All right, Paul. Let's see, Joe's happening 21. How are you? What's up? And JL Smithling. Gerald checking in from Alabama. So let me just go over a couple of the topics I'm going to talk about. Obviously, the supposed to be an important update on Iran announced here, I guess, in a few minutes. Now, obviously, I'm live streaming, so I'm not going to watch it. I'm just going to talk, listen to what y'all have to say. This is just an informal hangout to talk about the issues. Let's see, after we discuss that, or during the discussion, I'm going to talk about following the money. So if you follow the money, is the Iran war already a huge win? And what I'm talking about is the military industrial congressional complex. So, you know, in my mind, the reason we're messing with Iran, it's the fourth largest oil reserve in the world. Venezuela being number one. We just went down there. Now we went to Iran. It's over the oil, but also it's to feed the military industrial congressional complex. So we'll discuss that. Let's talk about how the gas price is going to impact the midterm elections coming up in November. And do we really think Trump does not have a plan for that? As he is obviously a chess player, and he knows that if gas is $6 a gallon in November, they're not going to fare very well. So do we really think that there's not a plan for that? Let's see. Another topic in the tabloids. What the heck is going on with Kristi Noem's husband? My goodness. We'll talk about that at the end. But it's time to talk politics because it's the best reality show going on right now. I mean, I'm telling you, ever since the DJT show came onto the scene, I think everybody's ratings, TV, podcast, YouTube, everybody's views have taken a huge hit since DJT came back onto the scene. It's the hottest reality show. And if you're not talking about DJT, your views are down, no matter what you're doing. Okay, so back to some comments here. And folks, if you're joining me for the first time, I'm in no big hurry. This is just an informal hangout, like we're drinking beer together, like we're having a cup of coffee together. I don't have all the answers. I just like to invoke thought, hear everybody else's opinion. I'll learn more from you most of the time than you learn from me or the show. That's how I feel about it. So I'm here to learn. Let's see. Mr. G, did my woman offer to make you a meal? Actually, she did. She made me some leftover chicken soup this morning. It wasn't exactly delicious because she ran out of salt. So the salt definitely needed, or the soup definitely needed some salt. She was out. Next time, Big Pumpkin, please go to the Sorry store, get the salt before you serve the soup. But at least I'm not hungry, so I'm not complaining. Hey Angie, how you doing? Hope you're doing well, feeling better. Hope you get to feeling better soon. Let's see. I'm sick for the gas increase. Yeah, everybody's tired of the high gas prices. You know, here in places, I'm broadcasting from the Philippines. The last number was 51 days on average of fuel in reserve. So a lot of people in America, you're concerned about the gas price. In a lot of other countries, we're concerned about gas availability, period. Let's see, Heath, how are you, my friend? Checking in from Southeast Tennessee. Let's see, Charis just got back from Cebu. Can't wait to retire in a few years. All right, hope you enjoyed the trip. Internet Monster likes the counter. Yeah, old single dad putting some graphics on there, like the news. Canada, let's see. Boblo Blah, if I said that right, checking in from Canada. 345 Adventures, how are you? Tika 8218, Maximus, how y'all doing? And Freeway Freddy checking in from Miami Beach. Let's see, yeah, DJT is going live in about 15 minutes. I figured, you know what? I'll just beat him to the live stream. He's going to come to you from the Oval Office. And, you know, what's crazy, like the furniture here at the crib is like very similar to the furniture that he does all those talks with foreign leaders. Got the same furniture, same decor. Okay, yeah, everything is closed today and tomorrow for the activities of Holy Week. If I say that right, is it Monday, Thursday, and Good Friday? So everything's closed here in the PI. Mr. Scott checking in from Georgia, and then Jake, how are you, my friend? All right, so let me just go to some articles here. I'll just pull up various news articles, folks. I'm not married to any news organization. I just look at a dozen different sites. I'll pull a title that's interesting, different perspectives, different language, tones of different media outlets, obviously. So Trump to deliver Iran speech amid falling approval ratings and soaring gas prices. Set to address the nation on the Middle East later tonight with, I think the term was, an important update. So before he makes the update, anybody want to take a guess on what he's about to update us on? Let's see. The U.S. president has claimed that Iran's president wants a ceasefire, but Iranian foreign minister says no ceasefire proposal has been made by Iran. So who knows what's going on behind the scenes? I think the only thing that was positive for me and my buddy were discussing is that at least the Iranian foreign minister has confirmed that they are communicating with the U.S. envoy. Now, what he said was, it's, you know, by communicating messages back and forth, that doesn't necessarily mean we're negotiating. But at least it seems like the U.S. is talking to the right people. Because when you take out leadership and there's that void, a lot of times, and in the past, the U.S. has been talking to the wrong people, or they don't know who the right people are. But at least it seems like they're communicating with the right people. But again, one side says there's negotiations going on, the other side says there's not. all warfare is based on deception. Okay? So who knows what's going on? This article says that recent polling shows his approval rating slipping below 40%. I never believe any of the polls. It's who you ask, where you ask. They can skew those polls. I don't believe the polls. I'm just telling you what this one particular article is reporting. Okay, again, this gentleman from Iran says they're engaged in exchanges of messages, but they're not holding any talks. That's what they're saying. Who's telling the truth? We don't know. Let's see. It also talks about Trump has suggested that the U.S. is considering leaving NATO, which I'm fine with that. Now look, I'm not saying that I'm right. I'm just here to invoke thought. But as an American, it's my opinion that the UN is a waste of our tax dollars, 100%. It's mostly like a expensive welfare program for most of it. It's useless. The UN is useless. NATO is useless to the American people. It's just money that the U.S. taxpayers pay out with nothing in return. You're even paying rent on these bases. I mean, it's just absolute ridiculousness. So I'm all for leaving NATO. They're useless. We pay, I mean, like I said, I'll tell a quick story. You know, in Afghanistan, you would have all these countries who sent anywhere from 10 to hundreds or thousands of people, or maybe they sent 13 people. Okay, yeah, we sent some people to say that we were part of this mission. They came with zero money, zero funding. They were just there to say they were there. It's like the hair on my tits. They're useless. So I'm okay. Pull out of NATO, let them do their own thing, and pay their own fucking bills. There we go. All right, so that's one article right there. Come over to CNN. What are they talking about? All right, so apparently the mission to the moon, or to go around the moon, got launched. And then I guess in a few minutes here, the president is going to start making his announcement. All right, back to your comments for just a minute here. Let's see. Mets and Knicks fan says the war's going to end. Okay, that could be the announcement. It could be the announcement. I mean, what time is it? 8:51. So about 10 minutes here. Let's see. Talking about. Come on down here. Let's see if anybody's got a solid plan. All right, still the war is ending. Maximus says Trump will declare the Strait of Trump is open for sea travel. Okay. Ernest, how are you, my friend? More fake news, according to Hemmett Nut. Lynn says Trump lies all the time. Okay, show me a politician that doesn't lie all the time. So I'm not going to disagree with you. Every politician lies all the time. That's exactly what they do. You know, they lie mostly about 100% of the time when they're in office, and then when they're running for office, they lie about 180% of the time. So nothing new. But then again, all warfare is based on deception. So do you want somebody that's telling 100% truth when you're sending rounds downrange in a conflict? No. But I will agree with you. But expand it to say all politicians, just like Tony says, Trump is all bullshit. Show me a politician that's not. If a politician's lips are moving, you can pretty much deduce that they're lying. So again, not disagreeing with y'all. Kuya Steve, how you doing, my friend? Okay, NATO denying USA the use of their airspace and bases is unacceptable. I think it is too. When you're paying rent, you're basically protecting that country with U.S. tax dollars, and then you're going to allow this tiny little country who can't defend themselves, country X, to tell us what to do. Okay, here's a simple solution. Immediately, we're going to close down that base, and you go defend yourself, and we'll save the money. How about them apples? And we'll take all our planes and all our money over to a country who actually likes us. Pretty simple. Yeah, UN and NATO, zero value for the United States. I agree with you, Steve. That's right. Europe needs to defend themselves, not depend on our money, our soldiers, our weaponry. Go it on your own. Boom! Kuya Steve coming off the top ropes. Fighting the global chicken feet shortage, 1 foot at a time. Happy Easter. Now I'm going to put you on the screen there, and did that thing come into the right position? It looks like it did. Old single dad just stacking the cool here with the technology. Man, I'm starting to look like Fox News. And I'm not even hooked up to my switcher where I can put a screen over here. You know what? Sometimes simplicity works better. It's just done is better than perfect, right? Especially on the internet, because things move too quick. I got to hook up my switcher so I can put the screens and the videos and all that on there. All right, somebody just gave us a thumbs down. 3 thumbs down, 38 thumbs ups. I want to thank you very much for that thumbs down that I saw fly across the screen. I certainly appreciate it. Appreciate your input. Okay, back to your comments here. Trump and Netanyahu didn't consult NATO. Why would they consult people who don't factor in? They don't factor in. They don't factor in because they're useless. Let's see, Nate's Quest. You know that's right. You should at least have a tie on or on even without the shirt. You know what? I started to get dressed up. And I said, you know what? I'm not getting dressed up. I'm going to tell you why. Because I'm trying to save the planet. It's hot here in the Philippines on average. But this morning it's nice and cool. I opened up that door right there. I opened up a window. I got a cross draft going on. And my fan is not even on. And I'm cool as a cucumber. But if I dress up, I'm going to start to sweat. Then I got to turn the air con on. And then my carbon footprint goes up, my light bill goes up. I'm contributing to the gas shortage here in the Philippines. I'm not going to do it. You know, I'm just sitting here in my shorts, cool as a cucumber, saving the planet. Let's see, can I cast the DJT channel on here? Freeway Freddy, if I had hooked up my switcher and been prepared, I would have. And after the show, I'm going to hook it up where I can do all that studio stuff. But right now, it's just me, the comments, and the camera. And I got to read from my iPad over here. It's 8:57. So I'm assuming that DJT is getting ready, you know, doing what you do before a live stream. He's at his desk doing an audio check. Same thing I do. Hey Jim, how you doing, my friend? Let's see, Steven, how you doing? Mr. G says Iran started the war in 1979 by taking hostages. Let's see, Drone says, has anyone told Israel the war is ending? And Boblo Blah says Trump always has a plan. Well, I think, okay, I agree with you. Okay, Trump's a chess player. He didn't get to where he's at by not having a plan or not having a strategy for negotiation. The guy plays the long game. But we Americans have a very short attention span, especially this day and age. If you look at the views on this war, which every war has better video, better coverage. You looked at it, spikes, and then it just fades out quickly within what? A month, less than a month. I saw a lot of views fading out after 2 weeks. Americans are tired of watching this shit. So, the attention span is not there for another 10 or 20 year war. And I do believe Trump has a plan. And that's what I'm going to discuss. If you're just joining me, these points, is the Iran war a huge success? If you want to use that word politically, I think it is. In the sense that the military-industrial congressional complex has to be fed. It has to be fed. How did Trump just feed it? I'll compress what I'm going to talk about later, but basically he just took a 10-year war and the requirements and the contracts and the building of bombs and missiles and ships and filling the gaps that have been identified. He just did that shit in a 1 month time period. 1 month time period. Now he can shut down the war in 1 month, but he has secured orders for the defense industry for a decade. You see how that works? In a way that's genius. You have to feed the military-industrial congressional complex. Fact. How do you do it? Well, you can sit over in Afghanistan or Iraq for 10 or 20 years, just running MRAPs up and down the road till they get blown up. People sitting on the, I call them prison camps, sitting on a 5, eating 3 times a day, going to the gym and spend money on logistical contracts. Or you can come in there for 1 month, high intensity, just expend the most expensive munitions that you have. In this 1 month of war, just secured 10 more years of building these weapons of war, but now they get to do it during peacetime. Is that not a plan? Is that not playing chess? It's about the oil. Iran's the 4th largest oil reserve in the world. Venezuela, number 1. Number 2, you got to feed the defense industry. So he's done both, if you look at it like that. Good, bad, or ugly. Whether you agree with it, whether it's pretty, whether it's not pretty, that's the way, I'm just a dumb redneck from the backwoods of Mississippi. But you just have to look at what has to be done. Got to feed the defense industry. He just did that. How many Tomahawks did they fire? And the things are like 3.6, 4 million a piece, depending on how they're configured. All those got to be replaced. Raytheon's about to get even more richer than they already are, whatever they call themselves these days. All the aircraft that got damaged got to be replaced. The expensive radar systems they hit got to be replaced. So do you think the defense industry is upset that all this weaponry is getting hit or showing vulnerabilities? Hell no, it's champagne. It's champagne. All these gaps have to be researched, addressed. We obviously just figured out we're not prepared for the drone war. Oh my goodness. If you're in the drone making business, you're about to be the tip of the sword, and the money is going to be focused on you. Again, so if he ends the war right now, he can do it because he put a little bit of to fear God in China about the oil over there. Number 2, he's fed the military-industrial congressional complex. Everybody come home. Let's start building things. There we go. Okay, so Lanny says Trump is speaking now. He's coming out now. All right, so and I'm not watching it, folks. I'll just sit here and listen to your comments. Again, old single dad, it's a small miracle. I got this stream going. I'll spend a couple hours getting my switcher hooked up, so any more political shows I'll be able to broadcast. Of course, I'll catch a copyright claim, but hey, worse things to happen. I'll broadcast, but let me just check Fox News here, see if it's... There you go. President Trump's address to the nation. If I do watch now, it might cut my 80s music off. Look, I got priorities here. I listen to 80s music non-stop. And if I hit play on here and watch this thing, it's going to cut my... Okay, so I've got the president muted. I got my 80s music going. I can see him standing up there. So it appears that he's standing up there making an announcement. So I'll just let y'all report to me what he's saying, what your interpretation is. But again, if he ends it right now, it's still a win. Because I call it MIC for short. Military Industrial Congressional Complex has been fed. Now he can focus on what? November, the midterm elections. Phil Pines, how are you? Let's see, Mr. Allen, how are you? Britt living in the Angeles City. All right, man, hope you're doing well. Let's see, I Laugh, how you doing? Yeah, Trump's not a politician, he's a businessman. But we're used to politicians being dumb as rocks. We're used to that, and we're used to, well, like I said, they all lie, but we're used to having basically people who won a popularity contest that don't know about business being in charge of a country. That's what we're used to. We're not used to having a business guy who's business-minded, who plays chess, who's worried about making money. We're not used to that. And so our way of thinking and our way of conditioning is so much different than the way this guy operates. And again, folks, I'm just trying to invoke thought here. I don't have the answers, but I think we'll all agree that the presidents in the past haven't been businessmen. They've been career politicians that are good at what? They're good at winning popularity contests. They're not good at running businesses. They didn't start a company in their father's garage and make billions of dollars. They won a popularity contest, and now all of a sudden they're in office and they're supposed to be able to run a corporation with this budget. It doesn't work. And now we have a guy in there that's used to doing this, and we're just all confused. We're absolutely confused. Yeah, the drone industry. If you're in the drone industry, you're about to be the main effort. The main effort. We're going to be playing catch up to China. And, we're already seeing that, pilots, fighter pilots are going to be phased out. But I tell you what, I'll do a video on it, but there's a video on Lockheed? I've talked about these drone submarines so many times that all those drones flying around New Jersey, my theory was they're launched by Chinese autonomous drone subs. These drone subs can launch drones, recover drones. Is it possible that a lot of these sightings of UFOs out in the ocean are just drone subs recovering drones? I mean, it's crazy if you watch some of the stuff that's available. The submarine launches the drone lands in the water, sinks, goes back to the submarine. Lockheed has this sub now that sits on the bottom of the ocean. If it needs to recharge batteries, okay, a cargo ship is coming by, it goes up, attaches, puts these propellers out, and gets a free ride on a cargo ship and recharges its batteries. Theoretically, it never has to surface. It can launch torpedoes, missiles, drones. If you watch that video, it basically, that piece of gear has rendered traditional navies obsolete. If that thing can do all of those things, why do we need surface ships? Why do we need manned submarines? These things will just litter the ocean. Every country will just have these things pre-staged all over the ocean. And if you're silly enough to try to sell an aircraft carrier anywhere, I mean, 2 of these things, that's all you need. So if you're in the drone business, I don't think it's a news flash that you're the tip of the sword, tip of the spear, and you're the main effort on funding. Okay, New F Cracky, how you doing? Alberta checking in. Yeah, if you just joined us, I had the malunggay tree. We call it malunggay here in the Philippines. They call it moringa. The seed pods on these trees around here in the Philippines are getting so big and so heavy that I just showed a video. There's a tree with a branch about like that. Just snaps under the weight of these things. They just keep growing and growing and growing. And each one of those pods, I'd say, is half a pound. And there just gets to be so much weight on this branch, boom, it snaps. We had it happen here in the yard. Seen several around the neighborhood. So like walking underneath the malunggay tree right now is the same as a coconut tree. You got to look up and be careful or you're going to get knocked out. Virginia on station. JXX, how are you doing? Let's see, Big Dave, how you doing? Hoss and Pepper, Big Grip. That's right, knowing is half the battle. California Swede, how you doing? Let's see, got OC on station. Hope everything's going well in Southern California. The King's Elbow says epic fury today, epic fail tomorrow. I don't think so. It's all about from whose perspective you look at it from. A lot of people are going to view it, if Trump leaves right now, that for somehow or another America lost this war. And everybody has a different perspective. It depends on what you value. It looks like a loss, but is it really a loss? Okay, no matter what's going on in Ukraine versus Russia, Russia has nuclear weapons, Ukraine does not. At any moment, Russia could destroy that entire country. That's a statement of fact. At any moment, the United States of America could destroy the entire country of Iran. I hope that never happens. I'm not advocating that. But if you look at it from a win-lose situation, a country with a nuclear weapon holds the trump card. No pun intended. You have to look at what are the true objectives. What are the true objectives? Yes, it's about the oil, but also it's about fueling the military-industrial congressional complex. They did that. Is it mission accomplished? Now we look forward to November. Get the gas price down before November. There is a strategy. But if you look at it as a win-lose on what's going on now, which a lot of Americans will, they'll look at it as a loss if we just walk away. But I tell you what, if you read The Art of War by Sun Tzu, it's not a long read, and you understand the way Sun Tzu presents what war is about, it's not about winning or losing battles. It's not about egos. It's not about the amount of destruction. It's actually quite the opposite. It's focused on the end political objective. What is the end objective? It doesn't matter if the general goes and fights these outlandish battles and makes a name for himself. If you read The Art of War, it's quite the opposite. The guy who gets the job done the most quietly, no matter what people think, that's the smart general. So again, you have to ask yourself, what is the true objective by going to Iran? Is it to go over there and fight for 10 or 20 years? Okay, so Doomhauer says, lost this war that they started. Okay, a lot of people are going to look at it from that. That's the way they're going to look at it. Okay, do we think Cuba will be next? Well, that's what they've said. I don't think Cuba wants to try to go the distance. Hopefully there are deals being made where it works out for everybody. All right, Redneck and Peni, how are you? Trump was a spoiled rich kid, dodged the draft, went bankrupt 6 times. He's no genius. Okay, thanks for the your perspective there. Okay, back up here. Going back to your comments. David checking in from Chicago. And doesn't being commander-in-chief count as military service? All hail to the chief. Okay, Steve says the Democrats are playing chess, but Trump plays 4D chess. They will never get one up on him. I think that, again, we as Americans have a very short attention span. We're very quick, if somebody steps out of line this much, to jump on their back, to jump on them, to turn on them. It's that very short attention span. And that's sort of the problem with this when, our attention span and planning horizon is here, and a guy like Trump's is much larger, and you can't sit there and explain every little detail what they're trying to do. Number one, we don't have the attention span to listen. Number two, a lot of us wouldn't understand it. But I'm not losing faith in the guy this quickly. Does that make sense? For 4 years, we had nobody running the country. We had a Alzheimer's patient being propped up like it was Weekend at Bernie's. The whole world was laughing at the U.S. I felt sorry for Joe Biden. This old man should be sitting on a rocking chair, petting his cat, staring at birds, and he's being drug around the world, being propped up to make a fool out of himself. Nobody was running the country. It seems that his wife was, and she obviously wasn't capable of doing the job. So at least at this point, we have somebody in charge. We know who's in charge, who is a businessman. And the fact that the guys went bankrupt 6 times, that's experience. Now, you could look at it like, hey, he's the worst businessman in the world, or you can look at it like, okay, well, he's got the experience of 6 failures of what not to do. Again, it's your perspective on how you want to look at it. But could the U.S. have survived another 4 years of Joe Biden or Kamala Harris, who can't form a simple sentence? I don't think the U.S. could have survived that. Boom, just doing stuff. 90% of American adults are not smarter than a fifth grader. That's why they stopped the TV show. Yeah, what years did that thing run? I don't even remember. I may have watched 5 minutes of that show. Thank you very much, Just Doing Stuff 83. Certainly appreciate it. Y'all watch that box. Old Single Dad's got it where it does a front flip in, gonna do a back flip out, automatic. Oh, and they upgraded the software where you can see the emojis now. Before you couldn't see it. Anyhow, now you can see the emojis. Just got a fresh update on this software. Okay, King's Elbow says Trump's ending live speech declaring all April Fools. Oh man, I did not even think about that. I did not think about that it was, because it's April 2nd here. It's April 2nd here in the Philippines. I didn't even think about this could be a big April Fool, mother. Man, that got past me. I think it got past all of us maybe. Nobody said anything about it. Is this an April Fool's joke? Okay, okay, Jay Traveler says Trump just said we're going to bring them back to the Stone Age. Markets will tank. All right, did he just say that? I don't know. I'm depending on y'all. I ain't watching it. Okay, let's see. JTT expat joined the United States Marine Corps at age 17 when these crazies took our American embassy personnel as hostages. Fortunately / unfortunately, Reagan was elected and hostages were released. Okay, so let's talk about why. You know, old Jimmy Carter's sitting there in the White House with a sweater on, telling everybody to turn their heat down, not giving everybody a warm and fuzzy feeling, and they weren't taking him serious, or am I way off base? But when Reagan came in, it was like Trump coming in. Not to compare Trump to Reagan, but I'm comparing, they feared the guy. They knew the guy was going to carry a big stick and not be afraid to use it. So huge differences there. Okay, the world is lucky to survive 1.5 years of this mess. Yeah, 1 bankruptcy could be considered experience. 6, that's just insanity and not learning. All right, thank you very much, Redneck and Peni. Trump is only doing what everybody else before him threatened to do and wouldn't follow through on. And I think that's another big difference. Most of these politicians, they just talk, they just bark, and they got no bite. And the difference is this dog will bite. And again, we're not used to that. We're used to just talk. You know, what's the saying? Big hat, no cattle. So this dude come in there with some cattle, right? We're not used to that. All right, Emma Watt says Reagan defeated the USSR without dropping a bomb. And Jay Traveler is saying address is over, no good news, no plan other than keep digging. Okay, so is the address over? I'll have to go to my iPad here and see what the news sources have summarized. Again, I was not thinking that it could have been an April Fool joke. Freeway Freddy says, so basically he said we're going to be at this war for another 3 weeks at least. Okay, Hang with Chang says it was so full of BS it must have been the 1st of April biggest joke ever. That is kind of strange that he picked April 1 to do it. Okay, so Let's see if anybody's got a summary up so I can go to it. Who can type that fast? Maybe I need to give them a few more minutes to put some information out there. So again, I'm just depending on you good folks out there. Let me check another article here. Yes, if you're just joining me, I got a few more issues to talk about after Trump. Well, we're going to talk about following the money, gas price, Kristi Noem's husband, and the Kid Rock incident. I got some articles pulled up here. So this was an article before what Americans think about Donald Trump's Iran strategy ahead of his White House address. According to CNN, just 1/3 of the U.S. public believes that the president has a clear plan to handle the situation in Iran. Just 34% of Americans now say they approve at least somewhat of the U.S. decision to take military action, down 7 points from the start of the war. Okay, again, we Americans have a very short attention span and tolerance, and we're very quick to blame somebody else very quickly. I guess that's politics, but it just seems like it's more polarized these days where, you know, people will jump ship and abandon your ass like that, where in the past it seemed like people would support you longer. So again, 33% approval rating. Secretary of State Marco Rubio's got better with a 41%, and then old Defense or Department of War Secretary Pete, he's at 35%. And then we talk about along party lines. 94% of Democrats disapprove, while 28% of Republicans disapprove. That's according to CNN. And again, I don't have a favorite news source. I just look at them all. Lefty All Around says this war will not be over in 2 to 3 weeks. Lefty says he said nothing except trying to sell American oil. Okay, well again, we talk about following the money. This guy's a business guy. What is his main thought in life? He wakes up in the morning thinking about how he can make money. How can we make money? Go screw up the Strait of Hormuz over there, then people have no choice but to buy oil from us. Yeah. Yeah, we're talking about CNN, and I don't believe any news source, folks. I'll quote CNN now. I'll go to Fox News. I go to Al Jazeera. I don't believe any of them. I'm not a fan of any of them. If you had to ask what I go to the most, I go to RT as like a starting point. Obviously, they have a bias, but I like to go there as the starting point because it's the least censored it seems to be. They just put it out there and tell it like it is, without all the political sanitization that the American news medias do. And I think that's across the board. If you want to know more of ground truth when something's really ugly, you can't look at a U.S. News source. You got to go somewhere else. You got to go to RT, Al Jazeera, India. You got to go somewhere else because they don't have the same thought process of sanitizing shit and being politically correct to the American way. You go there, take a look, and then you can go to the American news sources and clearly see their bias and how they're amping something up or downplaying it. All right, back to a few comments here. So talking about the money, right? and y'all feel free to keep putting stuff about your takeaway from his speech. But so far, it doesn't seem like it was anything earth-shattering or anything definitive. Okay, by going to Iran, expending and utilizing all of this weaponry, you know, sending all these rounds downrange, radars getting destroyed. I think the one radar, there were 10 in the world, 4 got destroyed. The other one, there's 6 in the world, 1 got destroyed. You're talking a lot of money going to be pumped into the defense industry just to replace what was damaged on these very high-end weapon systems. Again, number 2, we figured out that we're not prepared to deal with drones, so the drone industry is about to kick into high gear, which they need to. We are so far behind China. You know, China can come up with a product today and manufacture 1 million of them within a week. We don't have that capability in America. So the drone industry, and I just used a story, just open source here on YouTube. You know, a year or so ago, a Chinese company, and this is not military stuff, this is a Chinese company, took one laptop and controlled 10,000 drones in the sky doing a drone show, you know, like a fireworks show, but a drone show. They controlled 10,000 drones with one laptop. They wanted to break the record. So to make sure that they hit the 10,000 drone mark, they launched like 10,200. A few of them failed. They still made over the 10K to break the record. Almost simultaneously, 2 companies in the US got together to try to put 5,000 in the air. They didn't make the 5,000. It was like shy, like 4,900 or something. And I was just looking at that like, you mean to tell me that the Chinese can do this with a single laptop, overkill, and we can't put 2 companies together to get half of what they just did? So the success, when you look at it from a more strategic level, is that we just learned a whole lot of lessons. We identified a whole lot of gaps, and now nobody can sit there and try to deny that, because before it's just in theory. It's just proven. These are the problems. These are the deficiencies. These are the gaps. We got to play catch up before the next war kicks off. So again, he secured at least 10 years full of you know, fast-paced orders for the defense industry, which is the military-industrial congressional complex. Everybody acts like that's a bad thing, but you know, everybody in Congress acts like it's a bad thing, but they're part of it. Eisenhower wanted to call it the military-industrial congressional complex. He got talked down to where it was called the military-industrial complex. Okay, the gas price. Okay, when a person gets elected, a politician gets elected, what's their like main objective in life? Their main objective is to keep that office, get reelected. So with the November elections coming up, right? The November elections are coming up. Now, not to insult anybody's intelligence, what you know or don't know about the midterm elections, but I'm not a political genius. But I know how to go to Professor Google here. Elections are scheduled to be held in the United States, in large part on November 3rd. These are midterm elections. All 435 seats in the House of Representatives and 35 of the 100 seats in the U.S. Senate will be contested to determine the 120th U.S. Congress. Okay, now some of those things the numbers weren't adding up. But I guess what's happening is all 435 districts and 33 seats. But there's, what is it, 2? Is there 2 special elections that are coming up? I think that's the numbers. Because it's supposed to be 1/3 of the U.S. Senate votes. But you got to add a couple. So it's coming up in November. Well, do we think that Trump doesn't realize that if the gas price is sky high 3 months before the election and on election day, that it's not going to affect the voter? Of course it is. Of course they know this. Of course Trump knows that if the gas price is high, they're going to clean house. So if old single dad knows that, I'm pretty sure Trump and his crew knows that. And don't we think that they got a plan for that? It may be temporary, but if you're going into November and gas is $1.89 a gallon, $1.69 a gallon, you can afford to put Jimmy Dean's sausage on your table right before the midterm elections, then you're going to start looking around and say, damn, going to Iran wasn't such a bad thing. Look how it worked out for me. Hey, we're doing pretty good. The gas price is down. I got Jimmy Dean's sausage on the breakfast table. I don't give a fuck what went on in Iran. Hell yeah, I'm gonna go down there and let's keep things as is. Why? Because we have a very short attention span. Humanity does right now. All right. So can I predict what's going to happen in November? Obviously not. But they obviously know it's coming. They got some type of plan. They're banking on everybody's memory and loyalty and everything to be short. It boils down to, within a reasonable short period of time, are things good? Yeah, they're going to be okay. If things are not, there's obviously, it's going to piss people off. All right, back to your comments. So I think it's about the money to the defense industry. Number two, we're not concerned with the gas price right now. They're concerned once they get closer into November. That's not rocket science. But if they don't have a plan, a grand plan for it, well, there's going to be a lot of changes. Okay. And what I wrote down here and what I wrote in my first book, what I learned is that fear makes money. Fear makes money. So after this experience in Iran, I don't think there's going to be much opposition to spending all this money on advanced weapons and research and, you know, the next generation of this and that. Because the perception is what? We went over there, Iran held their own, and we didn't do so well. Therefore, we need to spend more money. Mission accomplished. That's what they want. They want people to think that we went over there, got our ass handed to us, we couldn't handle them, we need more. Spend more money. All right. Let me go to your comments, and then we'll take it to the next topic of more of just politics and tabloid type stuff. Talk about Kristi Noem's husband and then Kid Rock and those Apache helicopters. But first, I will go back to your comments here. Let's see, Overwatch, how you doing? Jim says the only thing worth saving from Iran are the women. They're smoking hot. I'm all for it. Just pull some cruise ships over there. Bring all the ladies. Okay. Redneck and I laugh. Man, you guys always not forgetting about the Epstein files. These days, you know, a lot of stuff for the Epstein files, for example. Issues like that. Issues like Kristi Noem's husband doing this cross-dressing what old single dad really cares about is how decisions made and actions taken by these people affect how I can put Jimmy Dean sausage on the breakfast table for these children. That's what I truly care about. I'm not saying people should get passes for what they've done or this. I'm just saying what my main motivation is, and like my buddy was saying during the last election, was what people are voting is money. You know, inflation. We can't put Jimmy Dean sausage on the breakfast table. That's all I give a shit about right now. I don't care that Kristi Noem's husband puts fake tits on and pays strippers to look at them. I don't care about that. What I care about is her spending $200 million to take pictures of her riding her horse around. Because who pays for that? So that's just, at this stage of the game, that's my focus. All I care about is putting Jimmy Dean sausage on the table for these kids versus having to put the cheap red hot dogs that aren't even really hot dogs, I don't know what it is, that you're forced to do when governments go out and waste your fucking money. Most politicians are like managers in government jobs, no actual drive or vision. Or do they care? They don't get paid by performance. They just get paid by showing up. Let's see, sprinkle me. Let's see, y'all are talking about comments being censored. Okay, look, let me just make a blanket statement. If there's anything censored in this chat, it's YouTube. Okay, it's not me. I think you can. There's some way to like assign a moderator who snipes these certain comments. I don't even know how to do that, and I don't know anybody. None of my friends. If I say, "Hey, man, you want to be a moderator?" They'd be like, "Man, fuck you. You couldn't even pay me to do that." So if your comments aren't coming through, it's probably the Google squirrels, the YouTube squirrels sniping your comments. You know, I get the same complaints. Hey, I wasn't notified of the video or the premiere or the live stream. That's all YouTube's doing. They don't notify everybody like they used to. They notify a certain percentage. They check the metrics. Then they decide if they send out more. So a lot of the complaints that come my way, it's the Google squirrels inside this dang old computer here doing what they do. And it's weird too, because sometimes like I can see your comment on the backside and you claim that you can't see the comment, and then it'll be vice versa. Another thing too, on the comments, if you have top comments selected, you're not going to see all the comments. Make sure you go to, live comments, you'll see them all. Or if you're looking at a regular video, you need to hit newest comments. Then it'll show you all the comments. If you hit top, Google squirrels decide what you see. Let's see, Joseph checking in from Dothan. How you doing? Okay, lanes away. All right, again, Trump's speech was much about nothing. Okay, so there was nothing. It seemed like an important update. Let's put this to bed and then we'll talk about the tabloid stuff. Was there an important update? Now, for me, an important update would be we have an agreement, or here's a date that we're leaving. Was there anything in his speech that qualifies as an important update? Somebody leave it. Whoever watched his speech, was there anything on there that classified as an important update? For me, important is a damn date. Give us a date that something's going to happen, or show me an agreement that's signed. Okay, sprinkle. Yeah, it's got to be YouTube or Google. Yeah, they call them moderators, right? You can set a moderator who can sit there and decide. I mean, I can moderate the thing myself. There's a little button that says ban, or I can put you in timeout. So when the trolls show up, I just put them in like a 5-minute timeout. They can't say nothing for 5 minutes, and they come back. But right now, I haven't put anybody in timeout, and haven't banned anybody. All right, I'm at CNN. They're still showing the mission to the moon. Kind of funny how now we're focusing on NASA. Where's SpaceX? NASA says they built the biggest rocket. Is that bigger than SpaceX's? Where's SpaceX here? Got competing publicity here. Okay, so Trump warns that a nuclear-armed Iran would be intolerable, an intolerable threat in his national address. Yeah, DJT, you've said that a million times. We're tracking on that. We're past that. Okay, I don't see anything. I don't see anything definitive. I don't see anything that would classify as an important update. Using the terms murderous regime, all that's propaganda, when you could just say the Iranian government. Okay, and then uses the word terrorists, violent and thuggish regime, terror, coercion, conquest, mass murder, nuclear shield. It's just purely propaganda word salad. No one would dare stop them, and so we had to do it. Okay, we're past that. I don't see anything about an important update. U.S. military is on track to complete its objectives. We're going to hit them extremely hard over the next 2 to 3 weeks. How many times we're going to say we're hitting them extremely hard? More hard. Harder. Going to hit them extremely hard. New leadership, less radical, more reasonable. Okay, I hope so. If they make a move, we'll hit them with missiles very hard. All right, so there's nothing new. And look, I'm not against the man. I'm just saying, okay, I just read a synopsis of what you said. There's nothing new. I don't see an important update. Rich Buong, how you doing? Let's see, Jacksonville on station. Coral C, how you doing? Hey, AICS, thank you for the offer to be a moderator, but I just, I don't think I need one. I mean, I like for people to say what's on their mind. The only people that I put in timeout is if one of them bots shows up, you know, where they keep sending out the same trash, whatever. Usually I just put them in timeout. They never come back. But I like people to say exactly what's on their mind. I know where you stand. But thanks for the offer. And maybe if I get to where I got 1 million people watching at one time, I'll take you up on that offer. Because at that point, you probably need a few. Phil Pines, let's see. Steve checking in from New Zealand. Okay, so what my buddy calls a big nothing burger. Trump's important update turned into be a big nothing burger. Unless I'm missing something. Let's go to Kristi Noem's husband. Something a little more juicy here. So I did a video talking about Kristi Noem. You know, she refused to say no, she was not having an affair. She refused to say that under oath. That tells you, obviously, she's having an affair with her political advisor buddy that was working for her. I forget his name. She didn't want to say no. She's under oath. If she says no, okay, now you can be charged with perjury. So Kristi's got a boyfriend. I don't care. I cared about the fact that you spent $200 million to take pictures of you riding horses on a marketing campaign. It wasn't efficiently spent money. But now it comes out that Kristi Noem's husband, the guy who was sitting in the hearing while she was getting grilled, I'm glad I can't put this picture on the screen because I don't want you to see it. If you haven't seen it, it's Kristi Noem's husband sitting there with like a tight crop top on, with looks like 2 balloons as breasts, wearing pink ladies stretchable underwear. And then it says he spent over $25,000 messaging sex workers who specialize in this, if I say the word right, bimbofication. Never fucking heard of it, right? But he's got balloons stuffed under his crop tops and tight pants. And they got pictures circulating around. And obviously it's devastating for his family and her family. Okay? So, with that said, here's my position on it, right? I don't care. I'm back to, I don't care who Kristi is sleeping with. I don't care what this guy does in the comfort of his own home. That's his business. If he wants to dress up like that, that's his business. I'm not judging him. Don't care. I care about the numbers that come out of our pocket, the money that comes out of our pocket. That's what I care about. This dude's sitting at home in front of his own camera, his own computer, wants to dress up, like a woman with big breasts, and go onto these platforms and pay these girls. That's his money. That's his business. I don't got a problem with that. But what these politicians, you question their mental capability to do these important jobs is, this day and age, you mean to tell me, bro, you're married to Kristi Noem. You mean to tell me that you thought these photos would not get out on the internet? For 1 minute, you believed in your mind that this shit would not go public. And he supposedly made his money in the insurance industry. How can a successful businessman and a person who's married to a public figure, controlling a huge budget of the United States taxpayers' money, who's a public figure, you mean to tell me that you're sitting there paying these OnlyFans chicks or whatever, not hiding your face, not doing nothing to conceal your identity, that in your mind you thought this would never go public? That's just mind-boggling. If you're in politics, especially the higher that you go, you have to make some type of assumption that your risk level of a picture or a video or something you say when you think you're not being recorded is going to go public. So did Kristi really think that she was going to be able to bang her associate when he's firing Coast Guard pilots for losing her blanket? Do you really think at some point you're not going to get put into the spotlight? Of course you are. Now, I talked in the video before that she played it all wrong. They play it all wrong. When they try to deny these things, that's when the curiosity, the scandal, everything erupts. That's what the tabloids want you to do, is to deny it when they have photos. Instead of just coming out, if I was Kristi, I would have just came out and said, yeah, he's my boyfriend, my marriage is on the rocks, I'm trying to do a job. Next question. Put it to bed. End it. That's not what they do. They just dance around the question so they don't perjure themselves, and then you get fired. It's better to just come out and say, yep, absolutely. Why? My marriage is on the rocks, I'll be getting a divorce. What's that got to do with our budget? Nothing. So, her husband, cross-dressing. I just question his judgment in not realizing, bro, those photos are going public. You're not covering your face where you can try to deny it. Unbelievable. That's the part I can't believe, is that you don't know while you're doing this that at some point you're going to be national news. Okay, so that's my position on that. Not mad at you, bro. Not mad at you for, you know, you want to paint your titties green and wear a pink wig. That's up to you. But being married to a politician at that level, you should know that shit is going to go public. People will pay big money for those photos, and therefore people are going to sell them. How can these people not know this? God damn, it takes old single dad, a dumb redneck from the backwoods of Mississippi, to explain this. All right, moving right along to Kid Rock and the Apache incident. Okay, again, I can't put the video up there. I didn't hook up my switcher. My bad. I will hook up the switcher. If you're not tracking, Kid Rock got a house with a pool. He calls it the Southern White House. Got a Statue of Liberty overlooking the pool. It's beautiful. We know Kid Rock is a friend of DJT's. He's always supporting the troops. True patriot. So to compress the story, 2 Apaches, watch the video. They come past his house all the time, but this time they stopped, they hovered. One did an orbit left, looked straight at him. He salutes, while another one in the background is doing a flyby. That's the incident. He puts it, obviously, on his social media, and next thing you know, the Army at Fort Campbell has suspended these folks pending an investigation. Hey, Troy B, how you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Guitar Jams, thanks for checking in. So let me go to this article, right? Now, a lot of people are, you know, well, the command initiated an investigation. But let's talk about what Trump said. Let me close out these articles here about Kristi Noem's husband. Oh, there's one more crazy report. This guy said guy works for FEMA, says he got teleported. But let me pull up the Kid Rock stuff here. Let's see, I got so many tabs open. Give me just a moment to find it here. Talking about the Congress, I don't need that. Everybody knows midterms are coming up in November. Obviously got to get the gas price down. Kristi Noem's $220 million Homeland Security ad dwarfed the budgets of all these Hollywood films. My goodness. Now her husband's cross-dressing. What's next? That's what me and my buddy were talking about. What is next? Just when you think that things couldn't get crazier, they do. Now I'm getting a spinning beach ball because I got too many tabs open. Man, I can't catch a break. Okay, so I guess I'll have to go off memory. Ah, there it goes. I'm trying to get you Kid Rock's response here about what he said, because they started an investigation on the Apache pilots. And if y'all notice, Big Pumpkin has not come in here to check to see if I need something to drink. I'm out of Coke. But I forgot to get my radio so I could radio to her, hey, I'm out of Coke. So y'all can let me know what you think. Should the Apache pilots, should they have been investigated for just doing a drive-by at Kid Rock's place? You can let me know what you think while I'm trying to find the verbiage here. Pulled up too many tabs about this important update, which turned into a nothing burger. Big nothing burger. Let's see, news on Abu Dhabi. I'll leave the tab of the dude with the teleportation story. Maybe I'm getting closer here. Okay, here we go. Kid Rock Nashville Mansion flyover incident ends as Hegseth clears aircrew and lifts suspension. Okay. So basically, Fort Campbell initiates an investigation. That was quickly wabashed by the Secretary of War. Said, "Thank you, Kid Rock. U.S. Army pilots suspension lifted. No punishment, no investigation. Carry on, Patriots." So they confirmed that this U.S. Army aircrew, they were suspended. Now everything is wabash. And if you haven't seen those pictures, it's just cool as hell. Kid Rock standing there overlooking the pool, Statue of Liberty, 2 Apaches in the background. So let's see what Trump says about it, right? Well, first of all, Kid Rock says, "I think they're going to be all right. My buddy is commander-in-chief. I mean, what are they looking into? They stop for seconds, a minute?" He says he regularly says what's up when the pilots are practicing in the area. They come by his house all the time, which is nothing new. This time they just happen to stop, hover, spend a few seconds there. Okay? Let's get to Trump's response here. Yeah, I need to be more prepared when I'm doing these live streams. Shit happens. Army under investigation, blah, blah, blah. Here's what Trump says. He was asked what he thought about the suspensions of the air crews and the flyby. Well, they probably shouldn't have been doing it. Yes, you're not supposed to be playing games, right? But I take a look at it. They like Kid Rock. I like Kid Rock. Maybe they were trying to defend him. I don't know. Shortly after, the Secretary of War lifted their suspensions. Okay, end of story. So here's the points, which it's all about what perspective you look at an incident. People can look at it and say, hey, they were out of line because they're using government equipment. They're supposed to be on a training mission. They stopped by a celebrity's house unauthorized. That's the way traditional thinking would look at this incident, right? Okay. So if you look at it from another perspective, the military does flyovers of sporting events all the time, right? Are we all in agreement on this? That the military does special flyovers for what? Let's go down the line. NASCAR. How much does it cost extra for a special flight over a NASCAR race? All right, it's going to cost some money. All right, it's not a training flight. It has to be coordinated. It costs taxpayers money. But you have to look at the PR side of the military. Okay, it solidifies and gains public support. It makes you feel good to be an American. But flying over an organized sporting event that got approved by people with 1 million PowerPoint presentations, it costs X amount of money. Okay, you chalk it up to that's the PR, the marketing budget, the recruiting aspect of it. So let's put a number on it. They fly over what? They fly over Super Bowls. They fly over football games, whatever, right? It's part of the U.S. military's branding to the ultimate goal, I would say, is recruiting. Yes, it's about patriotism, maintaining public support for the military, all those things, right? How many kids went and joined the Navy and wanted to be naval aviators after they saw Top Gun? Think about that. So the United States military cooperates with Hollywood. They cooperate with all the sporting events. They cooperate in these air shows. It's part of the game. It costs money. How much extra money did it cost the United States Army for those two Apaches who were already on a training flight? How much extra did it cost for them to pause for 1 minute, orbit left, do an extra flyby, and roll out? You can look at it like it cost nothing. They were already in the air. Okay, you got me. 30 seconds extra of fuel. It basically costs nothing to get more PR than a 15-second flyover of a NASCAR race. They're still getting publicity from it. I'm talking about it right now. It's an awesome video. There was nothing wrong. So the bang for the buck that they got, how many redneck kids right now watch that video and now they want to be an Apache pilot? And oh, by the way, it didn't cost the U.S. Army nothing. You know, Kid Rock flyby. Look at the line item, 0. It didn't cost nothing. Recruiting spike due to this. Now we got 10,000 kids down there wanting to be an Apache pilot. Well, guess what? They're all not going to end up being pilots, but a majority of them are going to go into the military in some form or fashion. That's how it works. Hollywood, movies, celebrities, we're all influenced by this. How many people saw the movie Stripes and just dreamed about joining the Army and or did go join the Army? Need I go on and on and on? So to penalize these guys for doing the most efficient, basically zero cost, bang for the buck recruiting video would not make economic sense. That's my point. Point number 2 is, and I'm not saying I have the answer to this. I have the answer to what I just said. Okay, they just did the recruiters, helped them out for free. I'm clear on that. But what I'm not clear on is, did they do that on their own accord, or were they unofficially put up to it? Because think about this. Folks, the military these days has gotten so risk averse. People are so scared to get outside the box, there's just too much damn paperwork. All right? Americans and our fucking paperwork and rules and regulations. People are so scared to do anything. So I'm sitting there talking to my buddy, and I said, man, do you really think that those two Apache pilots did that shit on their own accord? When there's so many damn rules and regulations, and they know they're going to get called out on it, they know it's going to go on social media. Do I really think them 4 dudes just went out there and went John Wayne and did that on their own? Or is there some type of unofficial, you guys, go ahead and do it, we'll cover you. You got some top cover, don't worry about it. Just 30 seconds, don't stay too long, get on out of there. And they got covered. So, do I think they did it on their own accord? 50-50. Depends on how big a Kid Rock fan they are. But these guys know. They're not idiots. They're pilots. They know that that's deviating from the flight plan. Doing something is not part of the training. They know that. And would they just go out on their own, cut their throats, so to speak, without somebody saying, hey, we got you covered. We're flying top cover. Just do it. DJT's got you covered. I'm just asking the question. So, I got no problem with them doing what they did. And I would expand it to say, you look at, paid advertising, you got to pay and look at the return. PR is doing things like that, and seeing what the equivalent of the monetary exposure is. You know, they're getting all this stuff for free when they would have had to spend X amount of dollars on paid advertising. So what a great idea is you just have these Apache pilots on every training mission stop by a different celebrity's house and hover for 2 minutes, give them enough time to get the photo shoot, the video, whatever. They're blasting this out to 10 million very impressionable, teenage, young adult followers. What are you doing? You're just spreading the recruiting message, putting it in some kid's head. Hey, I want to be an Apache pilot. How much do you spend to do a flyover of a celebrity's house? 0 if it's on the way. And you think they're not going to stand out there with their iPhone and live stream that shit? I don't care who it is. You can call Snoop Dogg and say, hey, man, I'm going to send an Apache over your house and hover for 1 minute. You don't think Snoop Dogg's not going to get his kids and his crew out there and live stream that shit? Of course he is. Win-win for the Department of War. All right. Those are the topics that I had to discuss on today's live stream. So if you're just joining us, I think point number 1, the important update on Iran, was a big nothing burger. It happened on April 1st. Maybe it was an April Fool's joke behind the scenes. Number 2, I would think Trump has a plan to get the gas price down going into the November elections. Make sure you got a full tank, Jimmy Dean sausage on the table, where the voting will go their way in November. You would think. Kristi, no, not mad at her for having a boyfriend, not mad at her husband for cross-dressing. I think the point is, if you're married to a CEO of a big company, or if you're married to a politician, you need to assume that any photo or video you post online is going to make it to TMZ or the Daily Mail at some point. If you don't know that, I don't know what's going on. And then number 4, Kid Rock Apache was a free public relations, great bang for the buck, helping out with recruiting. All for it. I think they made the right call. But I do question whether or not they did that on their own or if they were put up to it. Doesn't matter. I think it's a great program. So the U.S. military, you're recruiting, just find out what celebrities are in the flight path. Call them up and say, hey, would you like to have an Apache hover for a minute? Please live stream that shit, because recruiting is so low right now that we're having to relax the standards, the drug use, take in old men, whatever they're having to do to meet the numbers. I just gave them the easiest way to recruit young people in America, and it's free. All right, so I'm going to go to your comments and I'm going to shut her down. Let me check over here how I look on the old YouTube. Look at myself. Oh, yeah, look beautiful. How many folks we got here? 140? Thank y'all very much for joining us, for joining me on this here stream. I was really hoping that there would be some type of important announcement, a date, some type of I thought there would be some type of preliminary agreement announced. Whether that would have been true or not, okay, we have some type of preliminary agreement. We're working forward to ratifying the agreement. We hope to have it done by May 1st. Doesn't seem to be what was said. All right, Papa Smurf, and she did it to herself, had an affair with an FBI agent. Okay, again, I don't care who she's sleeping with, who her husband's sleeping with. I just care about their decisions when they're using American tax money. But again, I question their judgment when these folks think that it's not going to come out. How can you in this day and age of surveillance, how can you think that this is not going to go public? Then when it goes public and they clearly have the evidence against you, you're going to try to deny it. In this day and age, you can't deny it. There's too much evidence. There's too much of a digital trail. People pay for this information. Just come out and face the music. Kristi, yes, that's my boyfriend. Yes, I've been sleeping with him. Why? Because I found out my husband's a cross-dresser. Next question. End of it. But you deny it. That's what the tabloids want you to do. Want you to tap dance around it. It keeps it going. It's like that movie. What was that movie with Harrison Ford? Not the Sum of All Fears. Clear and Present Danger. When the president's friends with this guy or something, they're going to deny the friendship. Harrison Ford says, if they ask you a question, was he your friend? You say no. He was a good friend. End of story. The guy happened to be a drug dealer. I didn't know about that. But yeah, he was a good friend. If you try to say, no, he's not my friend, they got pictures of you together, that's where the scandal goes. Yeah, Kid Rock is a true American patriot. If you've never been to one of his shows, you don't know what you're missing. I've been to so many of his shows, I couldn't even tell you. Boom, Klinsky, off the top ropes. Let's see. Yeah, just need $2 million and an 8-ball of cocaine. I need some gas to keep things cooking. I'm not asking for the world here. I just need an 8-ball, $2 million. Now, what movie was that from? I'm not talking about drug use. It's a line from, not a movie, but it's a line from what? Don't tell them, Klinsky. Let them figure it out. Just need $2 million and some cocaine. Need some gas to keep things cooking. That's what I tell Big Pumpkin all the time. I say, look, you got to give me a cup of coffee. Need some gas to keep things cooking. What if the chopper crashed and hurt innocent bystanders? Well, what if it crashed on the train and it wouldn't be no different? I got no problem with it. I got no problem with what they did. Okay. All right. Redneck's talking about feels like another lockdown is coming. Man, you talk about feeling like the lockdown. Like right now, what do you hear if I'm still? And I got a stereo microphone. It's probably picking up the kids out there playing with the water hose. The Philippines right now is so quiet. And this is Holy Week. So it's kind of hard to judge. Let's wait till next week when it's not Holy Week. But the Philippines is so quiet right now. It's eerily reminiscent. Is that the right word? Eerily reminds me of the lockdown, the quietness, because this is normally a very, very noisy country. I mean, it is noise nonstop. Our neighborhood, we live in this little $1 million neighborhood temporarily. It's the quietest place I've ever lived here. Why? Because these people are business owners. They go to bed at night. They're not up till 2 in the morning doing vidjokey. There's not 30 roosters at my neighbor's house. So it's very quiet here, but this isn't eerily quiet. I mean, all you hear is my kids out there. An occasional motorbike coming past. Nobody is visiting the neighborhood during the day like they were. And so like you look up and down the streets, normally during the day people are coming and going. There's cars parked on the street. Now it's like a ghost town and it's quiet. It's too quiet for the hood. Every day that goes by, the traffic volume, it seems to be just slowly decreasing. Well, what does this remind me of? That harsh word called the lockdown is what it reminds me of. It's just taking me back, just flashbacks to being in prison. The sound of silence. And I used to complain about the noise here in the Philippines until you experience that time period where you were locked down and the silence was associated with it. So when everything started opening back up and you got the noisy ass buses and the noisy jeepneys, I said on many videos, that's the sound of freedom. That noise, as much as I used to complain about it, that's the sound of freedom. But folks, if the gas gets to where it's being rationed, the place is going to look like a lockdown, but it's not. You're free to walk anywhere the hell you want to go. You're not locked down in your house. There just ain't no damn gas to get in a car. There's no jeepneys running. And speaking of that, a lot less jeepneys are running now. Again, it's Holy Week, so it's hard to gauge. There's obviously changes. School's let out. Our kids are going to online school. But next week, I think we'll tell when we go out next week. Anyhow, I can only tell you what I'm feeling, what I'm seeing. He said, Lon Pizza, tuning in from Ocean City, New Jersey. How you doing, my friend? And Kentucky Tom. See, Robert, how are you? And then JXX, checking in from Virginia. Trump's address was nothing. Okay, so I think we're pretty much all in agreement that the important update on Iran was nothing important. Big nothing burger. So with that, folks, I'm going to go ahead and shut her down. Take a couple more comments. When's the Syrac girls coming over for breakfast? Man, it might be another week or so. You know, the kids are going to online class until, like, I don't know, the 9th, the 10th. And they got, like, they're in school till, like, I think the end of May. I don't know the exact date, but they may end up going online for the remaining time. I don't know. But you got to do what you got to do to conserve fuel. Kids going to online classes is one way to do it. Given the current circumstances, I'm not mad at them. I'm not a big fan of online learning, but right now everybody's got to do what they got to do. That's why I'm sitting here with my shirt off, trying to stay cool. Got the window open, nice cool breeze, zero air conditioner. Other than my setup here right now, the camera and the computer, zero electric usage other than the refrigerator going on right here at the mansion. Let's see, Jaws, how are you? And then Gregory checking in from Las Cruces. Joseph saying futures are down right now. Kentucky Tom says, I don't think the address is going to raise my portfolio tomorrow. Yeah, I think I'm in agreement. So what was the purpose of that? What was the purpose of doing the press conference and saying that there was an important update? I don't know. But folks, that's what I've got to offer today. Thank y'all very much for hanging out with us. Let me go over here and check the super chats. Want to make sure I put everything up on the screen. Let's see. I think I got those. Let's see. Kentucky Tom. I can't. You know what? Let me just throw them back up on there. Sometimes, folks, I forget whether or not I put your the super chats up on the screen. I certainly appreciate your support. Sometimes things just slip my mind or they slip past me, so I'm going to go ahead and put them up there again. And then we'll close out the show here. So, Kuya Steve, thank you very much. Fighting the global chicken feet shortage, 1 foot at a time. Happy Easter to all. Yeah, I got to cook Fatima some chicken feet. I spoiled her when I took her to Thailand and cooked chicken feet for her because the chicken feet over there are so meaty. And then once I cook chicken feet over there, she's not as excited about chicken feet over here because the chicken feet are skinny. I got to get her some. Just doing stuff. Thank you very much. And again, talking about 90% of American adults are not smarter than a 5th grader. That's why they stopped the TV show. And then Kentucky Tom. Let me see if that replaces it. Yep, okay. Keep that good sausage in the table. That's what I'm concerned with, you know. All I care about amongst all the noise is how can I put Jimmy Dean sausage on the table for my kids instead of cheap ground up red hot dogs? I think that's what everybody cares about. I don't care about anything else. All the talking heads, all the bullshit, who's sleeping with who violated this small fucking regulation that didn't cost the Army any money. I don't care about that. I'm just trying to put Jimmy Dean sausage on the damn table for Forrest G and Maria. And then Klinsky, yeah, man, I just need $2 million and some cocaine. Again, what show is that from? Make sure I put that out there before the algorithm picks up that I'm promoting drug use. I'm not promoting drug use. We are talking about a TV show. Okay, so I'll stay live until somebody can tell me what TV show that's from. Maybe I'll already put it up there. What TV show is that line from? I'm not asking for the world here. I just need $2 million and some cocaine. I need $2 million in an 8-ball. I need some gas to keep things cooking. What show is that from? I made her some delicious chicken feet over in Thailand. I'm telling you. I know how to make good chicken feet. Yeah, the remember tail hook. Yeah, everybody growing up our generation, how long did they talk about that? And I'm not saying good, bad, or ugly. I'm just saying that how long did that event stay in the media? Let's see. Boom, Papa Smurf, the righteous gemstones. That's exactly right, my friend. The righteous gemstone. Uncle Baby, what's his name? Uncle Baby Billy. Uncle Baby Billy was trying to raise funds for his Teengus series. And I guess they cut him off or were limiting his budget. He was complaining that he was having to film at some gravel pit when he should be over in the Middle East filming. So he was looking for funding for his Teengus movie or series, whatever it was. And all he needed was, he just needed $2 million and some cocaine. He's an old man. He needs some gas to keep things cooking. Just needed a little energy and $2 million. I'm not asking for the world here. I should start using it. I just need 2 million subscribers and what can I replace the cocaine with? Let's see. I just need $2 million and some Jimmy Dean sausage. Not asking for the world here. All right, folks. I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Go hang out with the kids, see what me and Big Pumpkin are going to do for the day. I want to thank y'all for joining me. I'll see y'all tomorrow night. You know I'll be here. Unless the world comes to an end, I'll be here. Thank y'all again. If you could, hit that like button. Tap that like button. Hit that thumbs up button. It helps out with the Google squirrels who control everything about this platform. So if you don't mind, tap that like button. I think I got 121 thumbs up, 10 thumbs down. If you don't mind, hit that for me. And I certainly appreciate you. I'll dance at your next wedding. Send me a first class ticket and some per diem. I'll do it. All right, folks, I'm out of here. We'll see you.